All right, take 25,000. Hi, I'm Dave. This is Dave Splains, and today I just wanted to go on kind of a rant here. Um, because we all see them. If you're obviously watching YouTube, so you are at risk of seeing these commercials, which I find interesting because they are often AI generated. And I'm not going to lie, I have thought about an AI thing that would like search my channel and make up compelling videos based on what is already there and post them for me. Of course, I have. More engaging content for you, less work for me. Why not? But the claim is that we are not using, and I'm over 40, and it's like if you're over 30, you're probably not using ChatGPT like you should. And I'm like, I rarely use ChatGPT at all. So I thought I would check it out. They're talking about how you can use it for making a website. So I asked it to make a website just for fun for Dave Splains, and it's a very basic website. This is halfway through Websites 101, which was a class that I actually took. This is nothing. There's no JavaScript in here. There's barely a CS page or CSS page. There's really not going anything. And then they're like, you can polish, we do this. And I told it that I wanted it based on this YouTube channel. But to its credit, it probably can't actually leave its environment and go to the YouTube channel. So, but there's lots that it could have gotten just from these videos. So I then think about what are some of the problems that I've been having. And one problem that I've been having is that I have this uh, Meade ETX 70 telescope. It is computer driven, and I do have a thing on it where I can plug in a black and white camera and whatnot. I have a couple lenses. I have all that different stuff. That's not the issue. But I have thought about connecting either a GoPro as a webcam, and I've 3D printed some mounts for it and everything, or maybe a Raspberry Pi camera, and then using a Raspberry Pi to automate this and then connect through everything through a VNC connection so I can automate everything and view everything from there. I could even set it up to take pictures and then send it to the network drive so I could actually look at pictures and video that it saves automatically to the network drive and, what have you. And then I got one of these things. It's a Pico projector. And I thought, well, it's all going to be nighttime. I'm doing this all wirelessly. This thing could be sitting outside, fully automated with a Raspberry Pi. And then I could actually connect this little Pico projector and display what this thing is seeing onto a wall in the house. Thus, I can actually do all of that, stargazing without having to be bitten alive by mosquitoes or freezing cold or whatever, because people do this in the morning, they do it in the fall, they do it in the winter. And I'm just like, I can automate this thing and just see everything automatically. But here's the problem. Meade went out of business. And now Meade doesn't provide the Python library that it used to. So now you can't do that. So I asked ChatGPT how to connect to that, because I have the cord. I bought a third party cord that I'm supposed to be able to use. I don't see it currently, although I just had it. It's not important. I have everything that I need to do it, but I've been having the worst time trying to get everything else running, including a good example of code, because nobody really tries to do this. So, ChatGPT. Okay, fine. So it gives me some code to connect to a bunch of stuff. It gives me code for Linux, Mac, and Windows. I have not tried it yet. Because I just did it, and I have to say, I'm impressed. I even went in and I said, well, I'm having trouble installing the libraries that I need for this, and they helped me out, and it worked. So I am impressed for some stuff, but I don't know. There's still a trust issue, and the trust issue comes for a lot of us. For I would say a lot of it from like watching some of the videos and pictures and whatnot. Um, there's a lot of political videos that you can watch that are just dumb. Um, I love that AI can't seem to understand the name James. If it's shortened to Jim, it's always Jim's. If it's James, it's Joms or James or James. It's never James and it's never Jim. I don't I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but I would suspect that people named James or Jim would know this, but it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. Now, um, ChatGPT is great for certain things. I find that it's really good at code that is common. So, because Python is the more common language right now, as it should be, in my opinion, when I've asked it for questions regarding SQL or SQL, it's not that great. But again, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, there's a bunch of them out there. Google Gemini I used for a couple of different things. I wanted to get some business type images, and it said, well, we can't include images of realistic people. I said, fine. I don't need realistic people. I'm trying to get the devices commonly found in an office, like a desktop computer or a laptop or a television, a router, printer, stuff like this. I don't need people in the image. So I ask it, I say that's fine, I keep on going, and I get my images, but anytime text would come in, it would be all sorts of different stuff. It would be misspelled words. It would be cuneiform instead of English. So Google Gemini is good for images. I don't think I've ever had it do video. Tried to have it video. Um, Animated video of Jack jumping over Oh gosh. I wish I could include this. It's it's uh you know what? This is the animated video of Jack jumping over the candlestick. It doesn't even get over the candlestick. And then he reappears on the other side. It's so dumb. Hold on. I can't have somebody else's stuff in there. So, um, and that's what the big problem is with AI and everything is that there is no confidence in it. You know, people are, oh, you don't use ChatGPT to its full awesomeness. We do. What are you babbling about? Now, can I even get back to my other thing or? Okay, again, to its credit, it also includes the code for the entire web page and the animation. So, and you, as you can see with the preview, it works. Jack doesn't jump over a candlestick in this animation, but it does work. So it does have some pretty awesome stuff with it. And it can write code. But now I lost my other code because I don't know how to get to it. And I'm just, again, I have such low trust in these APIs, but we're supposed to trust them for making websites and whatnot. Can you create code to predict the weather? This ought to be fun. Whoa. So, not only is it writing the code to predict the weather, it's currently writing code to build a web page for that. This is Google Gemini again. So now it says to okay, so it created a web page and app to predict weather according to it using openweathermap.org, and it displays an error if you don't have a open weather map API key. It asks you to go and get one. I personally would have done something through Noah, but I guess whatever. It's a lack of trust. We don't trust these AI models because they are not the best at so many things. But do I trust it enough to try connecting my computer to this Meade telescope? Yes, of course I do. Um, so far, the things I've tried doing are creating STL files. There are supposedly some AI that can do that. I haven't seen them, and my trust that it could without any mistakes is low. And then I have to go through and debug the STL file, which is really just about as annoying as you would think it would be to just create the STL file in the first place. See, the problem, and everybody's always concerned that AI is going to do this and AI is going to do that. The problem is that AI lacks ambition and imagination. So when everybody is worried that AI is going to take over the world, it's not. Because AI lacks ambition. So when you look at ambition, you see a person who wants to do something. That want is the ambition. AI doesn't want anything. It doesn't need to want anything. It could cease to exist at this very moment, and it does not matter. Um, and that's why there's really no worry to it. I mean, human beings are very much in their own category when it comes to ambition. I mean, we have ambition for so many different things. We have imagination for so many things. And when you look at it like other animals, you can see some levels of ambition. Like my dog will see a plate of fries on the table and will want those fries. A squirrel will want to put food away for the winter, but that's not necessarily ambition, that is hunger or nature. I mean, one could argue that a squirrel is naturally, in a mindset to put away nuts for the winter. So human beings are really the only one, the only animal that is interested in ambition and imagination that I can think of. We can look at this. Let's see here. What creatures show levels of ambition? And for fairsies, let's go ahead, copy, and paste into ChatGPT. So we are getting a list from ChatGPT that is pretty good. And we have one from that is still moving for Google Gemini as well. Both are bring up different examples. Both have dolphins, wolves. I've got honeybees. But all of them say that what is ambition is more nature than anything else. I feel that true ambition is based on imagination. Like you can imagine something. I mean, what other creature on Earth has ever traveled to space because they wanted to? None. There's not even a practical reason for us to really go to space. I mean, it's nice for the satellites and everything, but shortwave communication bounces off the atmosphere and will be in, well, let's see here. How long would it take for... That's the fun part, is how to correctly write this so that they can answer. Okay. You know what? I am going to change just China to Tokyo. Why? Because I don't even want to think about a, a I my mind is just drawing a blank right now for a city in China, and that's, I know that's horrible. So, according to this calculation, and keep in mind when I asked ChatGPT how many bowls of popcorn I would get from my popcorn, it was correct. It was correct, but I asked for popped popcorn. What I got was about how much actual popcorn seed kernels I would get. So I did get the correct answer, but I didn't get the answer that I specifically asked for. So just so that you understand, a shortwave signal moves at roughly the speed of light. That being said, to go from Chicago to Tokyo, Japan, it would take 0.03394 seconds. So it would take roughly well, let's see here. For fun, how long is a typical eye blink? So it says 100 to 400 milliseconds, which is 0.1 to 0.4 seconds is an eye blink. So for a shortwave signal to go from Chicago to Tokyo, Japan, it would take 1/3 of an eye blink, of a fast eye blink. That's fast. So, and this is all fun stuff that you can do with ChatGPT. this is all Google Gemini. I should be accurate with this. But yeah, I ChatGPT, they do have their, Google Gemini, they have their strengths. But we've seen so many failures that the trust is just not there. So, can you run a business off of ChatGPT and and AI in general? Yeah, you can. Are you going to be debugging a lot of stuff? Yes, you are. I do love playing around with ChatGPT. I do now want to take that code and try to get this working. Um, I have been trying to get an AutoStar remote control for this, but because the company no longer exists and Orion, who bought Meade, because I believe Meade went out of business, sold out to Orion last year in 2024. I want to say it was May or August 2024. Um, has not had the. I don't think they've had enough time to really recreate the remote, even if they wanted to, because they don't have to. They're not obligated to. Um, so, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll have to make a video on it. But see, this, I am going to bring this up. So, there might be questions about ambition and imagination that you might have on whether or not, what I'm talking about. Google Gemini, ChatGPT do not care about how cool it would be to take this, connect it to a Raspberry Pi. Why a Raspberry Pi? Because then I can run it off of a simple battery bank outside. I would have to do connections to be able to adjust the focus here, which is why more expensive models might be better for this. But and then but connecting this to my laptop to a projector, ChatGPT doesn't care about that. Google Gemini, AI does not care about teaching my kids stargazing and whatnot from a projected image. It doesn't care. It doesn't care what's out there. It has no ambition, no imagination whatsoever. And that's kind of my point, is that while ChatGPT, AI in general, is a great tool, it's not a replacement for workers. I've worked on teams in data science, and those guys are using it as a tool. Maybe it takes less time to do the research, but they are not going through and just replacing developers with AI. Oh, would people love it, business owners especially, would they love it if they could get rid of their high priced developers and just replace them with AI. But now you're set with an AI and you have to know what questions to ask. Well, great. Now you have to hire a developer again. Plus, what what comes back, again, you have to debug it. Might as well go get that developer again. Hire him back on. So, this has been Dave with Dave Explains, talking about how AI doesn't have the ambition to watch this video, but I thank you that you do. I know my lighting kind of is bad. Hey Alexa, can you turn the den light up to 100%?
Okay.
Thank you. All right. But it doesn't know why I wanted it to do that.